All right. Welcome back to The Hobbyist again. Crazy. This is already my fourth video. This semester has been going by super fast with all the different things that I've been running around and doing. And it's been great fun, getting the chance to try out a good couple of other things that I normally wouldn't. But with that aside, so this was a pretty cool couple of weeks now. What I've currently been working on is I've been attending Jujitsu classes, which is very far away from like my usual routine. But I guess what originally inspired this was back when I was a kid. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do sport-wise. And so my parents let me try out a bunch of different things, and one of them were karate classes. But I was so young, and so I guess disinterested in trying out new things that I really only lasted a couple of weeks before they eventually pulled me out, just because I wasn't feeling it. But ever since then, I've definitely regretted that decision. So there's been a little part of me in the back of my head that's always wanted to do something along the martial arts, once again. And my buddy has been taking the classes for a little while. He's pretty good at it. And so I approached him and I said, hey, do you think your classes would allow a couple free lessons? He says, yeah, man, come on in. I'll just show you some stuff on the side as well. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I've expended all of my free jujitsu classes, sadly. But it was a very fun couple of weeks there. So for those of you who maybe aren't super familiar with the difference between jujitsu as well as the other martial arts, most of the martial arts revolve around striking your opponents, whereas jujitsu is like a ground fighting focus. And the way my buddy explained it is, whenever you see brawls in like movies, or if you see them in real life, a lot of the times is one person will smack the other will punch him back, and eventually one of them is just going to tackle the other and just start fighting him while they're while he's on top of him, or while they're on the ground, and they're going to roll around a bit. And that's kind of the important part, because that's where you see the real clear winner of the fight. And that's where jujitsu excels. Its main focus is like being on the ground, getting your opponent in like joint locks, and just kind of like wrestling them into either like choke holds or joint locks, and getting them to submit that way. And so a lot of it is, it's like knowing how the human body works, because you're going to be like moving their arms or legs, or getting them in uncomfortable positions where they aren't able to like move or do much without surrendering. And so it's very, very interesting. A lot of it is a lot more subtle than other martial arts, just because it's all revolving around getting your opponent into positions rather than just like beating the tar out of them. And so I got my butt kicked quite a bit. To start off, my buddy, he's just like, I just want to show you why this is so important, so we're just gonna wrestle, you and me. And so we tried that, and I got destroyed. But at first it was weird. Like I thought I was holding my own, but I guess I wasn't like fighting towards something. Whereas he, on his end, he was, inching his way into getting me into positions where I'd have to submit. And so it is a lot more intricate in that regard. And so then when that's when we started going to some of the classes. And it's kind of tough to show you some of the things that I learned via video, just because I'm not here, wrestling with another person. I guess I could kind of try to describe one of them. I don't know the name of it, but one of the things that I was taught is, it's like, if you and your opponent are standing there and you're both, kind of squaring up, what you can do is, if you're standing here, you put one hand behind your opponent's neck, and you grab your wrist with the other hand, and you kind of just like, with the hand behind the neck, you push forward, and with the hand holding onto your wrist, you push up. And so it's like a little guillotine where, you're grabbing them like so, and you're just kind of getting them to submit that way. Yeah, so I don't know if that actually helps at all. But that's one of the things that I learned. And one of the other things is, like, if somebody goes to push you and you catch their hand real quick, you can like grab behind their elbow, and like, I guess you'd be holding their hand and you'd be holding their elbow, and you can like squish their arm. Yeah, it's hard to explain, but those are just a couple of the things that I was able to pick up, as well as a few other things, but it's all just kind of tough to explain over video. But if this is something that you ever would be interested, I'd say this is a phenomenal way to stay fit. It's a lot of work. You wouldn't expect it to be so much work, but it's like every part of you is, you're working while you're doing it, just because it's so full body. And so it's a lot of work. So if you're not ready for like running a triathlon, then jiu-jitsu might be kind of tough. But if this is something that you're interested in, I'd say it's a super useful skill, just because you never know what's going to pop up in your life and you want to be able to defend yourself in some regard. But it also is a great way to just stay fit. There's a lot of gyms or karate dojos that are just around, or martial art dojos or whatever they're called, in most cities, so it really shouldn't be too hard to find a place around you. But if this is something that you're interested in, I'd say it's definitely worth it. So thanks for checking this out, and I'll catch you later.